Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Also the North Central Chaplain for Broken Chains, JC. Yes, I know it's afternoon, but I was gone on a spiritual retreat weekend, a walk to Emmaus, and I was helping with that walk. And it was a truly great blessing, but it was exhausting. And I took today as a Sabbath rest. And so I slept. I slept 12 hours. And came out here into my shop. I spent my time with my Lord this morning, as I do every morning. Which, by the way, when I was on my walk, we don't keep track of time. We don't have our phones present with us all the time, and we don't pay attention to what's happening in the world around us. And so for me to get my time in to read, because we needed to be available whenever they said it was time to go, in the middle of the night sometime, I would wake up, I would walk out into the hallway and find a spot where the hallway light was still on in the church building, and I would sit down on the floor and I would read my Bible and spend time with the Lord. And then I would go back and go to bed because I didn't want to miss that time with the Lord. Now, the walk to Emmaus, when I took my original walk, I met Jesus in a brand new way. And people will always tell you, I can't tell you what you're going to experience to the walk to Emmaus, because you're going to experience different than I will. And what I can tell you is I didn't learn anything really new. What I did was experience something brand new. And since then, I've had the opportunity to help guide other men through that process by serving in those opportunities. And it was incredible. And this weekend was no different. And every time I get to serve, I also grow in what God is doing in me. And He had been preparing me for this for a really long time. I wanted every morning to share with you what God was teaching me. And I also thought to myself, it wouldn't be appropriate to break the safety of this weekend. And so I just let God talk to me. And so I'm here this afternoon with you to share with you just some stuff. But this is the Biker Devotional, and we read from the chapter of Proverbs that connects with the date, and it is August 14th, 2024, and we're going to look at Proverbs 14. In verse 10, it says, "The heart knows its own bitterness, and no outsider shares its joy." And as I read that this morning, God had been talking to me all weekend about no more excuses. I know He was talking to other men about the same thing. He was also talking to me about my relationship with Him and making that all in. And He's been talking to me about that for months. You may have picked up on that. Did I say November? Maybe I said September. I don't know. But it's October. October 14th. Whatever month it is. I'm still tired. Thank you, honey. I appreciate you correcting me. Proverbs 14, verse 10. "The heart knows its own bitterness. No outsider shares in its joy." I read that and I thought to myself, I got to be all in. I've got to give everything over to God. No more excuses. Those were the things He was talking to me about. And I read that and I thought, no outsider shares in the joy of bitterness? What is he talking about? Solomon, seriously, dude. So I went back and I looked at it in the Hebrew. The heart, the center of things, can be seen by a nephesh. How they got bitterness from nephesh, I don't know, but own, your own, from nephesh. It means a man, a breathing creature. So how can be your heart, the center of all that you are? I don't know, right? It comes down to the heart, the feelings, the center of all that you are can be seen by a man that has troubles. And I started thinking about that, and we all struggle. We all have troubles. I came back from my weekend on a spiritual high, and the first thing I found when I walked in the door, my wife didn't even see it. It started yesterday while she was gone. First thing I found when I walked in the door was a puddle. My roof's leaking. Life didn't change. The world didn't change, and the struggles of the world didn't change. And every time I've come back from a mountaintop high, I've experienced something like that. And it's made me angry, and it's taken me off balance. Yesterday I came in, all in for God. And I looked at that and I said, yeah, devil, I see what you're doing there. Well, I can't fix the roof. It's still raining. And it's dark. I can go and see if there's something specific that I can cover over right now to fix it, but I'm not going to really fix it. I got into the attic. I stapled some rope to the area where the leak was most prevalent and caused the water to run down the rope into a bucket so it wouldn't run down the rafters and leak throughout the whole of the drywall, so I didn't have a whole lot of stuff to fix. Today the sun's shining. I climbed up on the roof. I know where the leak is at. I'll get up there and I'll get that fixed. The heart of things can be seen by a man with trouble. But it can't be seen by a man with trouble if he's overwhelmed by it. You see, the next line says, no outsider shares in his joy. And when I looked at that in the Hebrew, I realized it says, adultery does not mix with joy. If I had been consumed by the troubles that met me when I walked in the door, I would have fallen back into the adultery of self. And I would have had no joy. Instead, I sat down and I ate my dinner. I sat down and I ate my dinner. I climbed up and I put the rope on that and got it dripping into a bucket. I spent time with my wife. And I woke up this morning singing a new song. Well, not really a new song. It's a song that we sang a lot during our weekend. And I have joy. And God has a plan. The heart knows its own bitterness, and no outsider shares in its joys. The way it's written in your word, it comes down to the center of all things can be seen by a man in trouble, unless you fall into the adultery of self, into the adultery of worshiping the problems of the world. Then you won't see that joy. I hope that spoke to you today, because I have never understood this verse. And I'm grateful for my weekend. If you've ever experienced an Emmaus walk and somebody offers to sponsor you, say yes. You may not learn anything new about Jesus, but you're going to meet him in a brand new way. And I promise you, there are no secrets. But the one thing I will promise you is I can't tell you what you'll experience, because you're going to meet him in the way you need to meet him today. So get out there and get it done. I love y'all. Hope you have a great day. God bless.